Good day, grade 12 learners. Welcome to today's mathematical literacy lesson. My name is Mithala Chia. Boys and girls, remember this lesson is brought to you by Gauteng Department of Education in collaboration with Saibono Discovery Center. Boys and girls, now we have come to the June examinations. We are on the mid-year of our year now. We'll be focusing on revision today for what? In preparation of tomorrow's paper. Tomorrow you'll be writing your paper 1 for grade 12 mathematical literacy. Boys and girls, I am with my co-presenter here, Mr. Mampani Kekan. We'll be working together. I hope you are going to enjoy this lesson and be ready for tomorrow. Remember, we said Gauteng, it is #1 province, and we have to reclaim our position in mathematical literacy as position 1. So boys and girls, by the end of this lesson, this is what you should be able to do. You should be able to identify the structure and the work with topic for paper 1. Boys, remember, what are the topics for paper 1? Remember, in mathematical literacy, we've got 4 topics. And those 4 topics, they're divided into 2 parts. So for paper 1, what we have finance, which is 60%. If you can check, it says finance, and the weighting for the finance only, it is 60%. So because now our paper 1, it will be out of what? It will be out of 100. The total mark for paper 1, it is out of 100, and then the duration for the paper, it will be what? 2 hours. So now it means you'll be sitting for a total mark of 100, and then for the whole 2 hours. So now with that 2 hours, we know that 60% of it, which is 60 marks, represents what? Finance. It means finance, it carries a lot of weight when we revise for paper 1. And then we have also data handling. Data handling is only about what? 35%. And that 35%, because it is out of 100, it will represent 35 marks. And we have 5% of probability. But you must be careful, boys and girls, as I have indicated here. Growth charts. Growth charts can be examined in data handling in paper 1, as it assesses application of measurement or measure of spread. It assesses the application of measure of spread. And I know you have done it already with your teacher, the growth chart. Boys and girls, you need to remember one important thing. The revision of today, it doesn't mean that the paper is going to come out exactly the way we'll be revising it today. But you know, we have done all these topics in the previous term 1, whereby we're focusing on finance, and then from finance we went to data handling. With probability, it was integrated in between, so it was not a standalone. So boys and girls, let's have a look at our paper, the structure of our paper, how it is going to look like. So we have question 1. Question 1, it will be what? Out of 20 marks. It can be plus or minus 20 to 25 marks. It will depend on who? On the examiner. That which weighting or which mark did they give for question 1. And then again, boys and girls, question 1, it is one of the easiest questions that you need to pass, because it is based on what? On level 1 type question, which is knowledge. It means with the knowledge, it is questions from finance and data handling, which is the knowledge that you have acquired from grade 10, grade 11, and even in grade 12. So it means you just recall what you are taught in grade 10, 11, and 12 under what? Under question 1. So meaning tomorrow, remember we are starting at 9 o'clock. You must be at school around what time? Around 8 o'clock. And upon arrival, boys and girls, be early. Be there even before 8 o'clock, so that 8 o'clock you are seated. And then when it says 9:30, 9:30, you'll be given what? You'll be given the answer books. and your school will provide you with the answer books. You need to carry all your instruments, which is your pen, your pencil, your ruler, your calculator. Don't forget your calculator, because it's very important that you always carry it with you. So now, around 8:45, they will be giving you question papers. Actually, 20 to 9, they will open the boxes for you. They will be sealed, those boxes, and then they will open them in front of you. Around 8:45, you'll get the paper, and then around 10 to 9, you'll be given chance or time to go through the paper. So as you open it, remember, you need to stay calm. You need to stay focused, because we are doing revision. That means we are preparing you for tomorrow's paper. So what will happen when you open your question paper? So they will go through the paper with you from 8:45 up until 10 to 9. As they go through the paper with you, check the questions. Know that question 1, because it's a level 1 question, that is the question that is the most important one. Once you can get almost 20 marks, you know already you have 20 marks where in the back set aside, because it's just a knowledge. You are just recalling what you are taught. And then in question 2, it will be what? It will be finance. And under finance, for question 2, remember, boys and girls, under finance we have financial documents, but we'll do it in detail. I will explain to you under finance, the topics that you have done, your financial documents, your tariff system, your taxation, your income and expenditure, cost price and selling price. And then after that one, we also have the exchange rate, banking, loans. We also have inflation. All those topics, they comprise what? They comprise the part of finance. So we don't know which question will come out of question 2, but what we're going to do, we're going to try and maybe go through, revision in terms of what we can expect. Like your financial document, you'll do one question under financial document, we'll do taxation, we'll do VAT, the calculation, so that we just remind ourselves of what we have learn in class from term 1 and even during the revision. After that, boys and girls, we go to question 3. Question 3, it will be under what? Now, it will be data handling for question 3. And under data handling, we have those 6 stages of data handling, whereby we'll be developing questions. And remember now here, because it's an exam, we are not going to start by saying, okay, fine, it's like the beginning of the year where we learn how to develop a question. Questions will be there. The examiner will ask you questions. They will give you the scenario and ask questions. All you have to do is to answer those questions. So we go to developing questions. After developing questions, and then we go to what? Collection and analyze, classifying the data. We collect and classify the data. So we'll do all those processes when we do the part of data handling. So it means data handling, it will also be comprised on all those subtopics that you have done in the year. And then question 4 and 5, boys and girls, it will be an integration of what? Meaning it will be an integration of data handling and finance. Remember, we said also probability is there. And probability, you have done it since grade 7, you've been doing probability. I don't think it will be a challenge for you. You know probability. You know your 3 diagrams. You know how probability is represented in what? As a fraction, as a percentage, or as a decimal fraction. And we know how to answer that one. So it will comprise only with what? 5% for probability. So we don't know. I haven't even seen the paper, boys and girls. The boxes will be opened in front of you. I will only see the paper tomorrow when you are writing. So it means me and you, we are on the same boat. You are on the dark as to how the paper looks like. But because we have done, we know the finance part, the terminologies. These are the terminologies that you have done. I am not going to go through these terminologies, but remember, we have done everything. The account, when you talk about financial documents, the account is there, and then the balances, the opening and the closing balance, the bank statement, you have come across that. The break-even point, it's there when we do the income and expenditure, cost price and selling price, because now we know with the break-even analysis, there is no profit, there is no loss. That's where they are equal. So meaning the company registers exactly the same profit, it registers exactly the same amount. If they sell 10 packets, for maybe where they get 300 rand for selling those 10 packets, and then when they were producing those packets, they produced those 10 packets for what? For also for 300 rand. So it means it is a break even, they are equal. So, and also boys and girls, remember we also did the budgets, budget, the finance, the personal budget and the business budget, and we have done that under finance. So the capital, we know if you want to borrow money, the capital, or if you owe money, if you've bought using the high purchase, the capital balance there. And then we have done, boys and girls, I am not going to waste time, because remember you have done all these terminologies, but in the exam, they won't come out as you see them, whereby they will say, define the cost rate, or maybe define the investment or the debit or deposit. Yes, the examiner can ask you that question, but that question, it will be based on what? On the given context, on the given scenario. So you'll be answering the terminology based on the given context. So if they give you the story and then they say to you maybe, for example, a deposit, what does the deposit mean based on this context? Then you'll have to explain the amount paid, because it is what? It is a deposit. It is the amount paid towards the purchase. So a part of, not the entire amount, but a certain percentage paid towards the purchase. So now, if it is like that, you answer based on what you are seeing. You don't need to memorize, but you need to know the definitions so that you are able to apply them according to the given context. Let's now have a look at this part of finance. Remember, I said finance, it will be what? 60 marks. And then under that 60 marks, we have the financial documents. And under financial documents, boys and girls, remember we have what? The household bills. The household bills, it is more of like your municipality bill, your telephone bill. Those are the household bills, for example. And then we also have what? The till slip. Every time you go to Pick and Pay, you go to ShopRite, you pay, you pick some groceries, you go to the tellers, or you go to the till point, you pay, and then you get a till slip as a proof of what you have purchased. If you want to return some of the items, or maybe they have overpriced you, or maybe when you get home you find that this item that you bought, it's not in good condition, it's not working, you are able to take it back to the shop and say, I bought this item, here is a proof that I have paid this amount of money towards this item, and when did I buy it. That information will be where? On your till slip. And we also have the banking documents. The banking documents, it will be your bank statement. If you have an account, your check account, or you have savings account, or you have a credit card, or an overdraft, they will send you the bank statement. So with the banking documents, remember now they will show you exactly the transactions that took place in your account. How did you use your account? How much did you spend? How much was deposited? And remember now, if they deposit, you are talking about what? The credit. And then if you take out money, maybe you are paying, that one will be under what? Under the debits, because the money will be going out of your account. And then we also have the budget. Remember I said we have a national budget. During the budget speech, the government will share the budget with us. Even the home, the personal budget, you as a person, you also make your own budget to say, how much am I expecting by the end of the month? And then how much am I expected what? Expenditures. So that is your budget, meaning you are planning before the actual spending. And then we have the shopping documents, your Truworths account, clothes, your Woolworths, all those documents, the financial documents, the shopping ones. And then the quotation, about a quotation if I want to buy a material for building maybe a room. Remember we said you are now ready, we are now preparing ourselves for the world. We need to know things that you're going to need, use when we finish our high school, our grade 12, we need to go out there and live. So now you can't just go out and say, I want to buy this and that. No, you have to make a plan. Remember, we said budget. Now, you after doing a budget, you go out. Now you get a quotation to say, I want a TV, I want a fridge, I want this and that and that. You go to one shop and then they quote for you all those items, and then you're able to go back and say, okay, how much do I need, and so on. And then the invoices, you have done the invoices. So boys and girls, with the invoice, for the services, after a company has rendered the services for you, and then they will invoice you, they will tell you, this is what we have done, this is what you have spent, and then this is the total, because that is what an invoice. And then you go to a shop, maybe you made a lay-by, then you get a receipt for the goods that you have bought. And then under text documents, now boys and girls, this is the part that you like. I know every time when I ask you, which topic do you find it difficult in paper one in finance? You will be saying taxation. Now we'll be doing it again. We are just revising. This taxation is not difficult. You'll see. Don't make it difficult. It's so simple. So under taxation or tax documents, we have the pay slip. You know what is reflected on the pay slip. Who is the employer? Who is the employee? How much are they earning? The position the employee is holding at the company. Which company are they working for? When are they getting paid? The ID number, the personal number or the clock number or the identification number, not the ID. But remember, at work, we have the numbers that they are able to identify us with. So if I punch this like me, they will say, what is your personal number? So once I give them my personal number, then it will show on their side, on their system to say, okay, this number, it identifies you. It identifies Metala Chia. So that's how. That is your pay slip, and how many hours and how much are you getting, and the deductions that are going through in your salary. So what are you paying? For example, your pension contribution, how much are you contributing towards pension, and then how much are you contributing towards medical aid, the medical tax credit, they are also reflected there. And then also your investments, if you have investments, also your UIF, if maybe you're working at a company, if a person, the employee is working at a company whereby they're debiting the amount for what? For the UIF. So all that information, it is reflected where? On the pay slip. And then we have the tax rate tables. Do you still remember the tax rate tables, boys and girls? Those tables, the one that you always say it is so difficult to understand. That one that has got the sliding scales to say, now the annual salary for this person, it is between this bracket, and then between 180,000 and 350. So it will be tax bracket number one, number two, and then tax bracket number one, it will be 18%. But you will do it, the tax rate tables that identifies, that tells us as an employee how much tax am I supposed to pay. And remember, SARS, we are paying everything to SARS, because once we are working, we have to pay tax. Also, we have the IRP5 that reflects all your details as an employee of a certain company. The employer will give you that IRP5 showing what are they deducting for. In terms of what? In terms of the codes, they will be giving you different codes to say, for your pension contribution, this is the code, and then for your maybe allowance, if you have a travel allowance, how much are you getting per annum? Remember, when you talk about tax, we said it's what? It's annual. So we'll still come to that one. And then you have to know the employer, the difference between the employer and the employee. If I'm working for GDE, it means I am employee of who? Of GDE, of Gauteng Department of Education. And then who's my employer? My employer will be GDE. And then travel allowance, I've already explained about the travel allowance. There are companies that are offering their employees a travel allowance. They will say, for you to drive around, going from point A to point B, doing the business as usual, then you'll get money for it, for petrol, for servicing the car, for maintenance of the car. Remember, now you have to buy the tires. If the tires maybe become worn out, and then they will also give you that money to say this is for travel allowance. Some of the companies, they pay good money. If you go out and say, now I'm going to overseas, they will say, here's your travel allowance. And then we have the claim forms. Claim forms, if you have done some duties, you can claim for what you have done. And then they will pay you based on your claim forms if you have done something extra on top of what you are normally doing. And then we have also taxation, the most important part. Remember, here we're talking about number 2, it was tax document. And then now number 3, we are focusing on what? On taxation. And then remember, boys and girls, under taxation, we have UIF, Unemployment Insurance Fund. And then we also have VAT, Value Added Tax. And remember, with the UIF, boys and girls, what we are saying with the UIF, this is a temporary relief fund for a employee who is out of work. Maybe if I become retrenched, or if I go on maternity leave. Remember, if I go on maternity leave, giving birth, I'll be staying at home for the coming 4 to 6 months. I won't be getting paid because now I'm where I'm at home. But with this UIF fund, remember, I will get a portion that will assist me in that period that I am at home for my accouchement. And then I'll be getting money from who? From the UIF fund. Those who are out of work, if they have been contributing towards UIF, they're able to claim that portion. It will assist them while they are still hunting for another job. So they're saying, because you have put money away, that will assist you when you are out of job, when you are unemployed. Then there is a portion you can come now. You will get it on a monthly basis for a certain period, not for the whole year. Remember, now we'll do it also in detail. The UIF to say 1%, I will explain that later on. And then we have the VAT, like I said, VAT, Value Added Tax. We are paying value added tax or VAT for all the goods and services rendered in the country. So if we buy goods, we pay VAT. The companies, when they buy those goods, also they pay towards who? Towards SARS, South African Revenue Services. That is why we all have to pay VAT. And then we have the personal tax, income tax. We have done that. We have spoken about it. You know about the income tax, the personal tax, that every person who is employed, or every person who is working, they have to pay what? To pay tax. But there's a scale. Remember, we'll do it in detail, showing how do they measure, or how do they know if you qualify to pay tax or not. So we'll do that in detail when we look at the personal tax. And then from there, under finance, again, we still have the tariff system. And then under the tariff systems, we have done it. We have your water tariff, your electricity tariff, your transport tariff, your telephone tariff, your municipality tariff. So we have done all those tariff systems, but we'll do them again in detail in the coming slides. So here I'm just unpacking the finance. Remember, I said question 1, it will be 20 marks. That plus or minus 20 plus or minus 5 marks added on top of that 20. So it can be 25 or less. So we don't know the examiner this time how much or how many marks will they award us for question 1. But for question 2, we said it is strictly finance. So these are the possible, all these are the possible questions that we can get under finance. That is why I'm saying I don't have a scope. I don't know how the paper will look like, but what I know is that financial documents, we have done it. So even if we get a financial document, we will be able to answer it. If we get a text document, one of these documents that I've mentioned here, we'll still be able to answer. And then taxation, we'll still be able to answer because it's under what? It's under finance, and we have already done it in class. And then tariff systems, I've also mentioned the different tariff systems that you have done. And when I do it in detail, I will remind you that electricity and water tariff, they're using what? The sliding scale. The more you consume, the more you pay. The less you consume, the less you will pay under the tariff systems. The more time you spend at the mall, the more money you'll pay for the parking. If you went to a mall whereby they charge for parking, so they will charge you. If I spend 2 hours, maybe for 2 hours they will say 0 to 2 hours is 10 rand. But if I spend more than 2 hours, then they will say, okay, now you have spent more than 2 hours, which will be now what? 12 rand for those between 2 hours and 3 hours, or between 2 hours and 4 hours. They'll be charging you what now? They'll be charging you 12 rand. It depends on where you have parked your car, the mall where you went to. But that one is a tariff systems, a parking one. And then now we also have this other type of tariff system that we all know, the cell phone one. If I'm using a prepaid or if I'm using a contract, how are they charging me? And boys and girls, because we have a lot and time won't be on our side, let's move on. We also have income, expenditure. We have done the income and expenditure statements. We have done income and expenditure in a business. And then we have also done income and expenditure in our lives, in a personal space, personal budget. So when we talk about, we have 3 types of income: the fixed income, we have a variable income, and we also have occasional income. Same applies with the expenditure. We have fixed expenditure, we have variable expenditure, we also have occasional expenditure. Those are the expenditures, the types of income or income and expenditure, so that we need to know. If we talk about the fixed one, which fixed income are we talking to? Like, for example, a salary. I know every month I will get what? My salary. I will get paid on a monthly basis. So that becomes what? That becomes my a fixed income, because it's not variable. But a variable one, that's when I am getting my fixed, and then it depends also on what? On the commission. So if it depends on the commission, then it will say, this month I did not do well, this is what I will get. If I manage to sell 10 cars, for example, then I will be having what? More money as in terms of commission. So that one, it will be a variable one. Like a person who is having a business, if they go out and sell their stuff, they know that with that amount, or with the stuff that they have sold, their income will be variable, because if they sell less items, therefore they will get less income. But if they happen to sell more items, that's when they will get more income. So it is variable, it's not steady. But remember, a fixed one, I said it's my salary. With my salary, I know each and every single month I am going to get paid. That one, it is a fixed one. And occasional income, when you talk about the occasional income, if I have a investment, if that investment matures, then I will get the income, the investment returns, I will get it on that particular time. Or maybe if it's my birthday and then somebody decides to shower me with some EFT, send me some money, that will be an unexpected and occasional, occasional income, because it's not always there. I don't always get money, extra money. So even when you're a student, who's this? Your parents, they will send you money, and then every month, it's fixed. If they're giving you 1,000 rand as a pocket money, they will give you 1,000 rand every month. so it's fixed. And then when it comes to your expenditure, if this month you have spent more than what you had last month, then you know that it is a variable one. If maybe this month I have bought certain items, next month I'm not going to repeat all those items, but I'll just buy a few. And then that means my expenditure will vary from last month because it won't be steady. But if I have a business, I know that I have to pay a rental, or maybe like my boy, my son is using scholar transport to go to school. Therefore, I have to pay the transport a certain amount of money every month. I have to pay what 1,000 rand, whether I like it or not. So it becomes what an expenditure on my side because I have to pay that 1,000 rand for the transport. Even the school fees, it will become expenditure on my side because I'll be taking out money and pay the school fees. But towards the school, it will be a fixed what income because now the school knows that my son is going to pay the school fees. And then even the transport guy, they know that okay, fine, this month learners are still going to school. I am going to get, remember now they even make us to sign a contract, a 12-month contract, so they know each and every single month they're expecting 1,000 from me as part of what, of transport money. So to them it becomes a fixed income, and then on my side it becomes a fixed what expenditure because I have to spend that money each and every single month towards transport. And then the cost price and selling price, boys and girls, we have also done it. Sorry, with the cost price and selling price, if I want to open up a business, I will have a fixed amount that I am going to use to start my business. So there will be a fixed cost that I will have to use before the business can be up and running. And then once I manufacture whatever that I'll be selling, say for example, I want to make earrings or the hand beads. So now those beads, I have to buy the material. And then after buying the material, make those earrings or the beads. And then I will start selling them. If I start selling them, remember now, there's a fixed amount that I have used to start my business. If I'm renting a stall, I have also to pay for the rental. So it means for the cost, it will be the amount of money that I've used to buy, purchase the material to manufacture what the earrings or whatever that I'll be selling. Even the clothes, if I'm selling clothes, I still have to buy what those clothes. I have to place an order and then come back and come and have a markup price on that one, start selling them. So when I start selling, that's when I will be having what a selling price. Remember now we spoke about a cost price which has a fixed one. And then now with the selling price, now we'll start having, if once I start selling items, that will be my selling price. And then if I sell one item, I don't make any profit. But the more items I sell, then the more profit or the more yes money will start. I will start registering in my business because now I'm selling the items. So now at a certain point, remember when I was talking about the break even, at a certain point, I know my income will be equal to what? To the expenditure. That will be the break-even point. So we'll do it in detail, even the break-even point. And then coming to the banking, we have the loans. I don't have money to buy a house cash. So I have to take a loan where at the bank. And then I will pay monthly installment towards that loan on a monthly basis. I will pay a certain, they will add an interest, and that interest will be added in what? It will depend whether it is compounded annually, if it's a simple interest or a compound interest, and that interest will be compounded annually, or it will be compounded quarterly or monthly. We'll do it as well. And then we have the exchange rate. Remember now, our currency is weaker because of what is happening in our country, and the exchange rate, again, it depends on what, on the politics that are happening, on the currency, on the current information or current situation in our country. It affects what the exchange rate, our monetary value, the currency that our rent or our monetary is worth. at other countries. How much are they buying our currency for? For example, right now I think, what is this, dollar, rand against dollar, we are paying something like 18 rand to 19 rand against what? Against $1. So meaning, if I go overseas, if this item cost 1 rand, and then now, sorry, if I go to overseas, this item cost $1, but in South Africa, because now it's US dollars, it can't be $1. In South Africa, we are using the rand. For that $1, in US, in South Africa, I'll be paying what? 19 rand. So meaning, if they say a cup of tea is $2, with South African currency, I'll have to pay what? 19 rand times 2, 38 rand for what? For 1 cup of coffee if I'm overseas. So, and then we also have the inflation. The inflation is the buying power. We have done all this, boys and girls. It's not a new stuff. I'm just going through it one by one so that you can recall, you can remember what we have done. The inflation, how much the food price is going up with at a certain percent. So we are comparing the previous year with this current year. For over this period, what was the inflation? And so with the inflation, it doesn't mean that if the inflation is lower, the prices won't increase. It means the increase won't be high, but increase will still be there. If the inflation is higher, it means the increase in terms of the price of the goods that you are buying, it will go higher, because now remember, the inflation will be higher. So if maybe the inflation, they say it is 2%, so meaning increase will be, in fact, to be realistic, in our country, inflation is above 3%. It is around about 4 to 5%, the inflation rate now. So it means they will compare this period last year, how much was the inflation? This year, how much is the inflation? What is the current inflation? And then they compare the two over that period. Then we know the prices will go up with a certain percentage. Now, boys and girls, I have already done this. Different financial documents include but not limited to what you have seen. I've already explained your account or bank statements. I've already explained the budgets, the cash slips, the receipt. And remember, now on a cash slip, I said it will reflect when did you buy that item, how much did it cost, how much tax did you pay, and then was there anything that is VAT free or what. So remember, in our country, there are items that are VAT exempted, like your brown bread, your vegetables, your fruits, they are VAT exempted, so meaning they're VAT free. And how do you identify that? By hashtag. It can be a hashtag or an asterisk, where you see that on your till slip or on your cash slip or on your receipt for items that you have bought. And it will also indicate whether this item, what was the price of this item before VAT can be added, or after VAT has been added. It will be reflected on the cash slip. The salary advice or the pay slip, I have already explained it to you, to say this is the document that you get that reflects who's the employer, who's the employee, and then which position am I holding, how much am I getting per month, how much is being deducted, how much am I contributing towards towards pension, towards UIF. If I've got any investment, I will give the company where I got the investment stop order authority to say, now you can debit the money. Actually, I'll say stop order, because I will instruct the employer to say, pay this company on my behalf. So they will take that money out of my salary. So at the end of the day, I will have what? I will have my net salary. I will have my cross salary, the one that will reflect my salary before any deductions. And then I have these deductions that are going out of my salary, and then at the end I will have my net salary. So we say the net salary, it is the gross salary minus the deductions. That will be your net salary, which we usually say it is a take-home money. That will be the amount of money that will be deposited in your bank account. And then we have the credit card statement or the bank account statement. I've already explained, if I have a check account, it will reflect the transactions that took place in my account. What did I do? How much money came through in my account, and then how much money went out of my account, the balance that I'm remaining with. Do I owe the bank something or not? So that means we'll be having an opening balance and the closing balance. And then the invoices, remember I said if I go to Birchwood, for example, hotel, or maybe a Sun City hotel, they will invoice me. I will stay there, I will book, and then maybe stay there for 3 days. And then at the end of the third day, they can say, okay, this is what you have spent. Maybe I have paid a portion. I've paid for my staying at the hotel. Remember, I have to pay upfront. I have paid, but while I'm there, I used their phone. I ordered the room service, so they'll be invoicing me out of all those things that I have done. Maybe I have used their laundry services and so on. So they will invoice me out of everything that I have done. So they'll give me a statement based on that one. And then the quotation I've also explained. If you want to build, and then you'll go to the hardware and say, I want to know how much is your pallet of bricks, and how many are they in a pallet. Are they 250 or are they 500? It depends on the size of the brick, how many cements, or what is the cost price of each item, and so on. And then the utility bills, I've also explained the utility bills, your municipal bill, your telephone bill at home. Those are the utility bills. And remember, boys and girls, again, coming to the utility bills, we also have this utility bill. We have that one of a municipality. We also have the one for the telephone and so on. And then under the accounts, we have our clothing accounts, as I've explained. And then we have income tax. We have done income tax, but we'll still do it. Remember, we said each and every single person who's working will be charged SARS. They have to pay SARS. Now, boys and girls, let's now start with the real business. UIF, I've explained UIF, Unemployment Insurance Fund. It is for what? It's a temporary relief. If you are unemployed, you are able to claim the money, a portion, while you are without job, while you are still on a job hunting, and then you can claim that portion. It will assist you. So it means it's a temporary relief because you have been contributing. How much are you contributing? Employer, remember I said I am employed by GDE, or I am working at Truworths, or I'm working at a garage, or I'm working at Pick and Pay. Anyway, so now if I contribute towards UIF, the employer will be contributing 1% of my basic salary. Employer will say, okay, this is what you are getting. If I am getting 17,712 per month, therefore the employer will contribute 1% of my 17,712, and I will also contribute on my side 1%, so of my basic salary. So all in all, towards the towards the fund, it will be 2%. So meaning it's one from the employer, one from the employee. Together it's 2%. That 2%, it will be contributed to the fund by the employer on behalf of the employee. So it means the employer will be contributing on my behalf. So when I'm out of work, then I'm able to claim for that portion. And then there's a limit to the basic salary. Remember now, if there is no limit, one person is earning 34,000, one is earning 17,000, one is earning 52,000. It depends on there are different salaries that employees are earning. So now they said, because we want to manage this fund, then we have to calculate now what a salary amount, or which is the 1% will be calculated. So there's a limit to the basic salary amount on which the 1% will be calculated. So this limit, they only call it what, the maximum ceiling. So from when? From 1 June 2021, the employer, or maybe the fund, the unemployment insurance fund, sit down and say, because now these people are contributing different amounts, then what we do, we'll only have a maximum earning, which we call now what, the ceiling. Meaning, if I am earning 17,712, or I am earning 22,400, they won't take 1% of 22,770, but the employer will only take what, 1% of 17,000. So if I'm earning 22, they will say, okay, we'll only contribute towards UIF 17,712. That's where we are ending. So per annum or annually, it will be out of what, 212,544. So if you are earning more than 212 rand, 212,544 annually, then they will only take what, 1% from me, and also the employer will contribute 1%. So all in all, it will be 2%. But if I am earning per annum 354, they won't take 1% of 354,000 that I am earning per annum, but they will only take 1% of what, of 212. So it means it's a maximum. If you reach a 212, you are earning 212 or more, they will only end where, at 212,544. They won't pay, or they won't deduct more than that. They will only deduct under on 212 or less. Boys and girls, now coming to VAT. Remember, we said VAT or VAT is a charge added to the price of goods and services in the country. Everything that we buy, it is either VAT inclusive or VAT exclusive. But if it says VAT exclusive, it means I still have to buy what? I still have to pay the 15%, because VAT, it is charged at the rate of 15% in our country. It's no longer 14%, but it is 15%. But if the examiner asks you about 14% VAT, you will have to work with what is being given to you. But we know that VAT, it is what? It is 15%. So if they give you 14%, they might as well want you to compare the 15% and the 14%. They will want to see how much are you spending more on this new VAT of 15%. When you are spending 14% on VAT previously, now you are spending 15%. The government is charging us 15% VAT. So boys and girls, with this one, it's very important that you know it. You even know how to read and how to work with VAT. And you know what I like? Percentages are all over in paper one. It's not only on VAT, but percentages are throughout the paper. So it's so simple. With this table that you are having in front of us, you will see how simple it is to work on that table. Now we say prices are either VAT exclusive or VAT exclusive. Inclusive. So with VAT exclusive, it is the price without VAT. With VAT inclusive, it is the price with 15% VAT added on it. So that one, it is 100%, excluding what, the amount that you see, it will be excluding the VAT. If they tell you that this is a VAT exclusive price or amount, therefore they still going to add what, the 15%. And then we say again, price that include VAT, it means that 15% VAT has already been added. And boys and girls, in our statements or in our till slip, VAT is forever added. It's not outside. They will show you that these are the amounts and then how much VAT has been added. And when you pay, you will be paying an amount that is already VAT inclusive. So that is VAT added. And then they will show you this is the amount of VAT that we have added on this particular amount, on this particular total of the items that you bought. And remember, I said also on a till slip, they will say to you with an indication of a hashtag to say, now this one you need to know it is VAT exempted. So it means you don't pay VAT for this item, but for these items, this is the VAT, this is the total amount that you have charged. Now the VAT exclude price that exclude VAT, it means that 15% VAT must still be added on it. Remember, I said each and every single item. If I go to the shop and buy a calculator, this calculator, the price that I see there, it will be the price that is VAT inclusive. So when I pay, I'll be paying VAT added on this price. So it means I want when I get to the till point, they won't start by saying, okay, how much is this item? It's 125. Then we still have to add what, about 15%. Then this is the total that they'll be giving me at that time. No, they've already calculated it, they've already placed it on the site, and then all that I have to do is to take that item, go to the till point, pay, and then I know I've already paid the amount that has got VAT. So when they invoice us, and there are certain shops, when they invoice us, they will be showing us the list of items that you bought and the prices excluding VAT, and then how much VAT has been added, meaning they will add all these items excluding VAT. They will give you the total at the bottom, and then now they'll be saying 15% VAT. Then they add 15% VAT, the amount. Remember, it's a percentage, and then it will be converted into the amount, added to the total, and then this is what I am going to pay at the end. So meaning, when they invoice me, they break it down to say, this is the price before VAT, the VAT, and then this is the price after the VAT. So if they give me the discount, they will also reflect it where in the invoice. Now, what is in front of us here? It's a table. I like this table. It makes life so easy. I was so stressed when I saw it, and I'm like, am I going to be able to work with this table? But with this given, this formula given here, it makes your life easy for any percentage that you'll be working on. Remember now, we say here, we have the VAT exclusive, and then the VAT, which is what, 15%, and then it will give us what, the VAT inclusive. So meaning the first column, if it's 100% like it's indicated there, it means that 100% it is without what, without the VAT, it is VAT exclusive. Then we go on, we say how much is our VAT? It is 15%. That means we have to add what, 15% towards what, towards the 100%. All in all, it will be 115. That will be the VAT inclusive. Now let's quickly do this example here, so that you know how this formula works. How does it make your life easy? Now let's check. We have the amount given here. The amount given, it is 425. I will quickly do the substitution here. I am given the amount of 425. I just want to show you how this table works. I'm given the amount given, it is 425, it is there. And then I multiply now. What am I missing? There's nothing there. I am missing the 15%. So now let's have a look here. It says what percentage I want. What percentage do I want? It's 15%. I write it on top. Remember, it's a percentage. I don't have to write 15%. Already it's in a percentage form. Now we say, okay, my percentage is 15, the one that I want, because it's missing. I don't know how much is my 15%. Then it is what I want. What do I have? I am having what? The 100%, because 100%, this 425, it's under what? It's under 100%. It means I'm having 100%. Therefore, all I have to do now is to calculate the VAT now. I'll say I take my calculator and say 425, I have to multiply it by 15 divided by 100. And boys and girls, you need to remember one thing. Our calculators, they will do as exactly as you tell it what to do. If you punch, it applies what? Botnas. It doesn't know. You have to control it. So I always say, okay, start by saying 15 divided by 100. It is what? It is 0.15, and then multiply it by 425. And then it will give me what? Meaning here, my amount that is missing, it will be 63 rand 75. So meaning the amount here, it will be 15% of what? Of 425, it will be 63 rand 75. And then I go to the next one now. I am done with this one. Now I'm going to the VAT inclusive. I want the VAT inclusive now. Let's check there. Now we say how much amount. This is your number one. Let me do number two now. I'm doing this one. Now with this one, amount given, it is 425. That is the amount given. And then what do I want now? I want the 115. It's what I want, the percentage I want, which is 115. What percentage do I have? It is 100. It's given because the 425, it is under the 100%. Then I just quickly say, okay, 115 divided by 100. Then I multiply by 425, or I can do it straight away. And then it will give you what? The amount inclusive of VAT now will be 488 rand 75. And boys and girls, when it comes to the rounding off, you need to be very careful. You need to read your instructions carefully, because now the examiner will tell you at the beginning of your question paper to say round off your answers to 2 decimal places, or unless stated otherwise. So when they say unless stated otherwise, it means on a certain question they will tell you round off your answer to how many percentages. Let's quickly go to the next one now. The number 3, this one, we want what? The 100%. Now let's see the amount given here. For number 3, we are given 250. That is the amount given. And what do I want? Let's start with the 100%, because it's not there. It means I want the 100%. And then what percentage do I have? I have the 15%. So meaning I'm looking for this one. I'll simply say 250 multiply by what? By 100 divided by 15. It will give me this amount, 1,666 rand 67. Boys and girls, why am I rounding to 2 decimal places? As you can see, when you punch your calculator, it will be 1,666 rand 66,667. So now just round it off to 2 decimal places, because it's monetary. Monetary, we round it off to 2 decimal places, unless stated otherwise. When they say round off your answer to the whole number, to the nearest whole number, then you round it off to the nearest whole number, which will be 1,667. Because now this will affect the 6, it will be 7. And then now we have this one now, which is 1,666 rand 67. Now let's do this one. We don't know this one. What are we given? I will say this one, it is my number 4. With my number 4 now, remember this is my number 1, my number 2, my number 3, then this one will be my number 4. Now with number 4, can you see, boys and girls, because I have this a formula given here. I have to know it. It won't be given to you, but you have to practice know this formula, and I know your teacher has taught it. And then now you say, what do I have here? Amount given, we said it is 250. That is the amount I'm given. And then now I multiply it. What percentage do I want? I want the 115. That is the percentage that I'm looking for. And then what percentage do I have? I have the 15%. So meaning I have to divide by 15. So simply it will be 250 multiplied by what? By 115. And then you divide it by what? By 15. Then you get your answer to what now? It will be 1,916 rand 67. Remember I said I am going to round it off to 2 decimal places. So boys and girls, can you see how simple it is to work with what you have, what is given to you? Now looking at the last one quickly, let's go to number 5 so that we move on now to the exam type questions. Now let's see number 5 here. What we are given here for number 5, we are having the amount given as 550, and then what is this amount? What do I want? I want the 100%. And then the percentage that I'm having, it's what? This 550, it's under 115. I divide it by 150. So it will be 550 multiplied by 100, and then I divide it by 115. Then I get my answer to be 478 rand 26. Now looking at this one, it is 26, it's 478, 260,869. 08696. And then because I'm working with the monetary, I won't leave my answer like that. It will be 478,26. That will be my answer. So here my answer will be 478,26. And then now I'm doing the last one, which is number 6. I want quickly to check number 6. What am I given for number 6 here? This is my number 5. Now for my number 6, what am I given? I'm given the 550. What do I want? I want the 15%. What do I have? I have the 115. So now I quickly go back to my calculator. It will be 550 multiply by 15, and then I divide it by 115, and then it will give me what? The VAT amount that it is been added. It's 71 rand 74. Remember now I've rounded off to 2 decimal places. I hope you are doing the calculations with me, boys and girls. And can you see how easy it is? You can use this formula in all the paper, in all the percentage calculations. Once you are doing this in all percentage calculations, it will be easier for you to complete it. Now let's do the serious stuff again. The personal income tax. Remember what we said about the personal income tax. We said everyone who is working is liable to pay tax to SARS. Remember, SARS, it collects tax for us to be able to, for you to get a free education, you know, the pensions that are paid to the old age people, the grant, all those monies, all those money that are being paid to people. That's where the government is making money from where? From the personal income tax. So we have this income tax. This is what you are going to work on with the income tax. Remember, I said you'll get what? Your salary slip. With your salary slip, you have to know what is your gross income, what is the salary before deductions. And then now, when you come to income tax, you need to check the following. There are 3 here. We have gross income, we have non-taxable income, we have a taxable income. So meaning with the gross income, no deduction has been made. And which deductions am I referring to when it comes to income tax? I am not just referring to the investment. I am not referring to the policies that I'm having with Old Mutual, the retirement, not the retirement. I'm not referring to the policies that I'm having with SADU or with NAPTOSA or with the union. And then, no, I'm not talking about that. The home loan, I'm not talking about that. The vehicle finance, those deductions, I'm not talking about those deductions. But the main focus for me to be able to calculate my taxable income, I have to have my gross salary. And this gross salary, remember, it should be in what? An annual one. My gross salary has to be an annual salary. Meaning with annual salary, if they tell you that I am earning 34,754 per month, they're telling you I'm earning 34,754 per month. And then, you know what I like about maths lit or mathematical literacy, the examiner will tell you that this salary that you see here, whether it is a gross salary or a gross income or it is a taxable income. And once they say Madam Gia is earning 34,754 per month, a taxable income, it means it will come here. It will be 34,754. And this amount, remember now, if they say it is taxable income, it has already subtracted this, the non-taxable income. What are those non-taxable income? We have only 3 official non-taxable income, which is your pension fund. And the pension fund is what? It is 7.5%. Or you can even say 7.5 over 100 of what? Of my basic salary. And then UIF, it will be 1% of my basic salary. And then we come to the donations. Remember, boys and girls, you can't be talking about the pension, you can't be talking about the UIF, you can't be talking about donations if they are not reflected where on the salary slip. They have to be reflected for you to talk about them. So if they are not reflected on your salary slip, if I did not tell you that I am donating towards Ukukanya crash or towards Ukukanya home of the disabilities or wherever, where I make my donation to a certain NGO, if I did not indicate that I am contributing towards this NGO, you can't be saying I'm going to deduct the donations. It means I have to specify. So meaning the examiner will specify if that one donations are there or not, and then if the UIF is there or not, and then the pension fund. So if that is not mentioned, then you'll only use what? The 7.5% because it's pension. It is a must that it must be deducted from where? It must be deducted from the gross income. And then with this one now, remember again, boys and girls, it's 7.5% of what? Of the basic salary. So now this amount also, we also working with what? With 12%, with 12 months. So meaning we have to multiply it by 12 to convert it into what? Into an annual. So there are 2 ways. Remember I said I am given, I'm earning 34,754 per month. 34,754 rand per month. Now this amount, they said it is what? It is my gross income. It is without what? Without a non-taxable income. So meaning I have to subtract what? Now I have to multiply it by 12 to make it an annual salary. And then if I multiply it by 12 now, I'll say quickly, maybe for example, 34,754, I multiply it by 12 annually, meaning I am earning how much per annum? it will be 417,048. Now this amount, it will be my annual salary. Meaning I've multiplied it by 12. Then I can simply say, okay, fine. What is 7.5%? I will multiply this annual salary by 7.5%. Then I divide it by 100. That means my pension towards this now. My pension, let me do this. My pension contribution annually will be 31,278 rand 60. Now I know what is my pension fund. And then maybe they have mentioned, remember now this pension fund, I took this annual salary, I multiplied it by 7.5. I took this 417,048, I multiplied it by 7.5%, and then it gave me what? 31,000. And then it gave me this amount of 31,278 and 60. Now, if the examiner stated maybe on the payslip that I'm also contributing UIF, it will show the contribution to say UIF. And then if they want you to they want you to calculate the UIF, and then you just say, okay, what is the annual? It will be my annual salary. Remember now I'm doing what? The UIF. Then I'll say my annual salary, I said it is 417, and then 0.48. And then now remember again, we said the ceiling. We spoke about what? The ceiling, that they will only take if this is my annual salary. And then we said the ceiling, it's what? It is 212,000. And then now they will only take 1% of that 212, because I am earning more than what? The ceiling. The ceiling 17,712. I am earning more than that. So that means they will only deduct what? Annually, the 212,000. And then now the donations, if they were mentioned, I will subtract the donations. And then after I have calculated these amounts, then I will subtract them away from my annual salary. So meaning for me to get my taxable income now, then it will be this one. I said I multiply it by 12 for me to get now the taxable income out of my annual salary, which is my annual salary. I said it will be 34,754, and then if I multiply it by 12 annually, it will be 417,048. Now I have to subtract now what? Pension fund. I have to subtract the pension fund. I also have to subtract what? The UIF. Now I go back because I am not contributing towards what? Towards the I'm not donating to any NGO or to any company. Then it will be my 417,048 and 48. Now I am subtracting what? My pension. Remember my pension is 417,048. Now my pension will be what? It will be 31,278,60. Then my UIF, remember the ceiling. The ceiling, we set my UIF, it will be 212. Let me quickly check. 17,770. If I'm not mistaken, let me quickly check. Okay. Okay, and let's quickly go back. Yeah, it is 17,712. So meaning, let me write it here so that I don't forget. Now I'll say my ceiling will be 212,544. So meaning I have to go back now to my calculation and say, okay, my tax, my UIF, it is 212,544. I'm going to subtract everything now. It will be 417,048. Now I'm subtracting my pension fund, my annual pension fund, which is 31,278 rand 60. I am subtracting the 212,544. That means the amount that I'll be remaining with, it will be 173,225 rand 40. So this will be my taxable income. So now, boys and girls, if the examiner has given you the taxable income, you don't need to go through all this. If they've given you the taxable income straight away, then you just work with the taxable income. Now, with the taxable income, it will take you what now? To the rebates. And what are the rebates? We said the rebates are the credits that the government is giving us as the people who are contributing towards tax. They say, okay, fine, this is just a relief on your side because now you have to contribute a lot of money. Then let us relieve you from that. And then as we relieve you from that, we know, okay, fine, you'll be left with a certain amount of money and then it will be fine. So now what they do, they say, okay, fine, this person is earning this amount of money. Okay, this, if I am 65 years, remember now when, okay, fine, the rebates, we have the primary, primary, secondary, and tertiary. Primary, it's less than 60 years. There's a certain amount, the rebate that you are getting. And then if I'm at secondary, it means it will be primary plus the secondary. If I'm at tertiary, it will be, I will be subtracting from my taxable income. I'll have to subtract my primary, subtract my subtract my secondary, and also subtract my tertiary if I am above what? Above 70. Remember, it says 0 to 65 and 70, 65 to 75. And if I'm above 75, then I'll fall under the tertiary, but we'll do that in detail. And then we go to the medical tax credit. With also the medical tax credit, it's a credit that the government is giving us. This is not a contribution. Remember, I'm a member of a certain medical aid. I'm a member of GEMS medical aid. So government is giving me a credit as well to say, okay, fine, let me relieve you a bit. I will give you a credit per member in the medical aid, whoever that is covered. So if myself, I'm a main member, and then I've got 2 kids, one kid will become what? Will become my first dependent, and then the other one will become my second dependent. So the first dependent always get same credit as the main member. And then now from there, boys and girls, we also have the tax bracket. Now, before we can subtract the medical tax credit and the rebates, we must go to the tax bracket. Which tax bracket do I fall under? I will check my money and then I'll say which tax bracket do I fall under. And then when I check the tax bracket, as you'll see when we do it now, when I go to the tax bracket, I'm falling under this tax bracket number 1 or tax bracket number 2, and then I will be calculating 18% of that amount that is where on the sliding scale of tax bracket number 1, and then we continue. And then the threshold, with the threshold, you know the threshold, boys and girls, it is the ceiling that says, if I'm earning this amount of money, and remember, year in, year out, our tax table, it's being revised. So we get a new tax table every year. For now, we are using the one that says 2024, 2025. For last year, it was 2023 because remember the tax year starts when? That is why I said everything we multiply it by 12. The tax year starts on the 1st of March. It will end on the 28th of February the following year. So the threshold, it says, if you are earning this amount of money, you are not entitled to pay what tax. It means you are earning a less amount of money that will qualify you to pay tax. But if you are earning more than this amount of money, the threshold, meaning the scale that they're using, if you are earning more than that scale, it means you are going to pay tax. But if you earn less, you won't pay tax. So boys and girls, let's quickly go on this ones. I've already explained the tariff systems, the municipal tariff systems. We have the water, the sewer, and the electricity. And then the water and the electricity one, remember what are they using? They're using the sliding scale. What am I referring to? They will say 0 to 6 kiloliters. 0 to 6 kiloliters, it is how much free, if it's free, or maybe if they're charging you. It's a sliding scale to say now 6 to 10 kiloliters, how much are they charging us? And remember now, with this sliding scale, if you want to know how many kiloliters of water did you use, boys and girls, as we can see, I've got, for example, I have 10 to 20 kiloliters. Now, for this one, I said it's free. And how many kiloliters? 0 to 6, it is 6 kiloliters, meaning it's free. But coming to this number 2, sliding scale number 2, 6 to 10 kiloliters, how am I going to count or know the number of kiloliters that I have used, the consumption of water? Then, for me to be able to do that, I will take this 10 kiloliters, subtract it. So it means we are saying the maximum of bracket number 2 or slide number 2, subtract the maximum of bracket number 1. So meaning it will be 10 minus 6. That will give us 4 kiloliters. And then when I come to number 3, it will be 20 kiloliters minus 10. I'm not saying 20 minus 10, but I am saying 20 minus 10, meaning I am going up. I'm saying 20 minus the 10, where the 10 on top, not the 10 on the left hand side, so that I also accommodate this 10. Once you say 6 minus 10, it means you'll get 3. But now if we say 10 minus 6, it will be 4, including the 6. So here it will be 10 kiloliters. That is the sliding scale that I was talking about. But you know, when it comes to the telephone tariff, you have done the tariffs with your teacher, boys and girls. And what is important, you'll see when we do one question, I'm not going to waste time because now I want us to now go into questions so that you see how these questions, how to attempt answering them in the exam. But I've already explained the cell phone tariff. You know, with the cell phone tariff, if I'm using a contract one, I will have a fixed amount that I am paying for the device and for the airtime that they're giving me on a monthly basis. And then if I'm using that one, remember there are different packages. Then they will say, now we are giving you 150 minutes. But should I use more than 150 minutes, they will start charging me extra amount with the extra minutes that I have used that is not covered in under this 150. Similarly to when we go to a McDonald's. When I go to McDonald's, if I want to buy Big Mac meal, it is what? It is a regular meal. And then the regular meal, it's around about 62 rand. And then if I say to them, I want Coke, regular Coke, not Coke Zero, they will add another 2 rand there. So it means for me, if I was supposed to pay 62 or 65, then they will add 2 rand. Then it will become what? 67. So the more I add, the higher the amount I will pay. It is a sliding scale. So if I'm okay with what I'm having, I use, and then I will pay only that amount. But if I use more, then they will charge me more. Same applies with a transport tariff. We have the bus and the taxis. if I buy a bus, a coupon for the bus, if I'm using a bus to go to work, if I buy a coupon is cheaper because it covers a month, unlike me paying on a daily basis. So the amount that I'll be spending on daily basis, it will be more than the amount that I'll be spending if I buy a coupon. And then again, it depends on the distance. If I Uber, then they will tell me per kilometer, this is what they're charging. They'll say, okay, now we are starting the meter taxi. You know, the metered taxi. They'll say, if I travel 5 kilometers, they'll charge me per kilometer. It's the lesser kilometers I travel, the lesser the amount that I'll pay. But the more kilometers I travel, the more amount I will pay. Same applies with your taxi. You know, local it differs per area. Local it can be 13 rent, local it can be 17 rent, and so on. So it depends where you are staying. If local is 13 rent, then I just want to go to the mall using what a local, then I'll pay only what 13 rent. Single trip, return trip, it will be 26 rent. But if I go to town, maybe going outside my local area now, I want to go say to CBD, I want to go and buy some stuff at CBD in town. And then now if I go in town now, CBD, then I have to pay more because I'll be moving out of my local area. So I won't be paying what the local. If I travel to Durban, there's a certain amount that they will charge me. But if I travel to Free State, there'll be a certain amount that I'll be paying. Bank tariffs, the banks are also charging us the amount of money for holding or for taking care of our accounts. So every time when I deposit money, they will charge me a certain amount. They will tell you that for every 1,000 that you are depositing, or for every 1,000 that you are withdrawing, we are charging you 1 rand 50 per 1,000 rand. And part of that word, part of, boys and girls, don't be surprised if maybe I have deposited 1,500 and they said to me, for every 1,000 rand that I'm depositing, they're charging 1 rand 50. That means for 1,500, it will be 1 rand 50, and then the part of, remember now, the 500 is part of what? Of the 1,000 rand. They are also going to charge me the same amount, which will be the 1,000. Which will be 1 rand 50. So, meaning if I want to deposit 1,500, I'm not going to pay only 1 rand 50, but I'll be paying what? 3 rand, because now it will be 4,000 rand and the 500, which is part of what? Of the 500, and with the part of the 1,000 rand of the amount that I'm going to deposit. And boys and girls, you must remember one thing: with the deposit and the withdrawal fees, they give you the amounts. If I'm withdrawing from my own bank, they will charge me maybe less amount. But if I am withdrawing on the ATM from the other bank, they will charge me more. So meaning they're encouraging us to use our own banks. Or if I go to ShopRite and withdraw money there, they will charge me less. Another thing, boys and girls, you must remember with the bank fees, now the banks, what they're doing, they're discouraging us. They are discouraging us to do what now? To go inside the branch, because now if we go inside and say now we want to withdraw money or we want to deposit the money inside the branch, we are going to queue there, and then all of us will want to go to each and every single teller, or will want to go to tellers. So it means for the bank to save money, they said do everything on the ATM, do everything by yourself. So if you want to go inside, they will charge you more. So they're discouraging us to use the tellers, because they have to employ more people for the manpower and so on. Now, boys and girls, when coming to the calculating the income, we say when calculating the income, we say multiplying the price of a selling item by the number of items sold. If I am selling an item for 10 rand, and then that item cost me 10 rand. If I've sold 5 items, it will be 10 rand multiplied by 5, and then the amount, it will be what? Now I will get 50 rand, because it will be 10 times 5, which will be my what now? My income. This is how I calculate my income. And then calculating the expenses, I've already explained about the fixed costs and the variable cost. When I talk about the expenses, the fixed cost, remember those expenses that I said now you need to start calculating on them. You say, now I have this. Now you say, I have this amount of money and then I have to do it. And then I say, okay, fine, this is what I'm having. The fixed cost of 500 rand for the rental, and then the variable cost for making that, it will cost me what? 300 rand. So all in all, my expenses will be 800 rand. And then calculating the profit will be income minus the expenses. If I sold a number of items, then I get an income of 1,000 rand. And then my expenses, we said it is what? 800. My profit will be what? 200 rand. And then if it is a positive number here, as you can see, it's a 200 rand. That means I have a profit. It won't be a deficit. But once my income is less than my expenses, let's turn it around now. I say my income is 800 rand, and then my expenses are what? 1,000 rand. So that means I'll have an answer of negative 200. It becomes what now? This answer, it will become my deficit, because the expenses are more than the income. Now with the profit and loss, you have done it. We have the profit. We said our profit is 200 rand, and then the cost, we said it is 800, and then we multiply it by 100. That's how we calculate now the profit. And then the profit margin, now you'll say the profit of 200 rand, and then the income of what? We said the income is 1,000 rand, we multiply it by 100. This is so simple because you're reading from the table or from the given information. Now coming to the break-even point, here it is our point here, whereby now here, if you can see this blue graph, it is a graph of what? Of expenses. This is a graph of expenses, and then this one is a graph of what? Income. Why am I saying the orange one is a graph of income? A graph of income will start at 0, and then the graph of expenses here, it starts at 1,200. Now here, if we can check the orange graph, the income graph, it is less than the blue graph, the expenses one. It means here the company is experiencing a loss. But once the orange one comes on top of the blue one, here it is a profit. That is how you read it. And then this point at 26, you need to be exact, boys and girls, not an estimation. You need to be very accurate here. This is your break-even point. Your break-even point. And then on a break-even point, we say income is equals to what? Expenses. That is your break-even point. Now let's start with the serious stuff now. There's just an example of a salary advice. Remember, I said to you, now they have to mention if I am contributing towards the UIF. As you can see, it says 1% contribution made by the employee. And then once they say 1% is made by the employee, it means also I am making a contribution of what? Of 1%. That means towards the fund, it will be 2%. What other information do we get there? The pension number. We have the pension number, and then who is this? This salary advice is for who? It is for this person, Rasmus GB, and then the job title is the branch manager, their ID number. And remember now, when we do the taxation, the income tax table, we can be given the ID number, then we work out the age of that person based on the ID number, if the age is not given. So if the age is given, it's fine. If it's not given, you go to what? To the ID number. And then again, they will tell you, they'll say this salary advice, it is for this period. As you can see, it says 2022 1 January. And then which bank are they using? FNB, the account number, and then the branch code, and then the basic salary. There it is, the basic salary 26,240. And then the UIF, it as part of what? Deduction. They are deducting 1%. And remember, now we said UIF is what? It's 1%. So meaning for the UIF amount, it will be, UIF will be what? 1% of what? Of 26,240. So now we simply say, what is 1%? 1 divided by 100 multiplied by 26,240. That will give us, the UIF is 262 rand 40. So meaning this amount here, it will be 262 rand 40. That is the amount for the UIF. Can you see, boys and girls, how simple it is? Because the information is given there. Now let's do this one quickly. This is a part of the financial document. Remember what I said with the financial document? We have the opening balance. As you can see, they can either say opening balance or the balance brought forward. And then now at the end here, it says end, meaning the statement ends there. And then what was my closing balance when they ended here? This was the closing balance. And then they even tell you, can you see now, they indicate that these two hashtags, these fees are inclusive of 15%. And then the transactions means annual. Now they even indicate to you the transaction means what? The debit or credit on the interest, on the account. And then with the credit here in this instance, it's money coming in. Money coming in. And then this one, debits. For the debit, it is money going out. Meaning debit, money is going out, credit, money is coming in. How do we know? The amount here, as you can see, once they deposited here, let's have a look at this one, the salaries. Once they continue depositing the salaries, the opening balance, here this person, if we can check here, he owed the bank this amount. It means he had overspent on what he had. They owed the bank 29 rand 67. How do we know that he owed the bank? Because the answer is reflected with a minus. It means he had spent more than what he got. So now once the amount comes in, they started by depositing 382. As you can see, the amount, instead of the amount to remain being 382, the bank has already taken out its money, the 352. And then now they started, now another salary came in, the balance went up. So the more they spend, if the salaries are getting in, the higher the balance. But once there are transactions, and these are the transactions, all these are the transactions, what has been taking place, what has been going out, what has been coming in. And also this account belongs to who? Mr. Dromedaris, and then the address of Mr. Dromedaris, the ID number, the account number, and then the client number. How does Taiba Bank identifies that this account belongs to their person who is Mr. Dromedaris? They are checking the client number, and then the type of account, it is a savings account. And then the period of the statement is, it is from when? From the 9th of September 2022 up until 16 September 2022. So boys and girls, what I'm going to do, given the time, I'm going to skip all these questions. I will share, but they're so simple, you can answer them. Like for this one, remember I said the account holder. Let me quickly go back. Okay. Now let's quickly have a look at this one. It says the examiner will say calculate the total amount of all the TUIB transactions. Now these are the TUIB transactions. There are 3. These are the amounts to the TUIB transactions, which will be, because they say TUIB transactions made on this account, it is 2,400 plus the 1,000 rand plus the 600. Can you see, boys and girls, the 600? The answers are there. Let's move on to the next one, just to give you a glimpse of how the financial documents that are being tested. Now it says the account holder owed the bank a certain amount of on a particular day. That amount, identify the amount that the account holder owed the bank. I said, how do you identify? It will be in a minus. So this is what this person owed the bank. They owed the bank 29 rand 67. How do we identify that? It is because it has a minus sign. Now let's have a look at this one. Now we're doing the profit and the percentages here. It says use the information. Remember, each and every single question you'll be given what? You'll be given the story, the scenario that you need to go through, and then from there you answer the questions based on the scenario. Here it says use the information alongside and the VAT percentage as the and the VAT at the percentage prescribed by the South African Revenue Service. What is that VAT percentage? It is 15, it is 15%. That is the VAT percentage, not 15 rand. It is the 15%, the VAT percentage. So what does the acronym VAT mean? It means you need to know it is value added tax. And then how much it is? It is 15%. You have answered. You have 4 marks. And then you go to the next one. Explain the meaning of VAT inclusive price. So the VAT inclusive price, we have already done it. We said it is the amount that has 15% VAT added on it. So that is the meaning of VAT inclusive price. That amount, it has 15% added on it. And then now they say determine the profit of A. How much? Remember, now this is the cost price and selling price. Now the selling price, it is what? Determine the profit. We said the profit, it will be what? It will be the selling. For us to calculate the profit, we said it will be the selling minus the cost. Now what is my selling? My selling is 2 rand. And then yes, my selling is 2 rand, and then minus the 1 rand 40, which is my cost. Now then what will be the amount there? It will be 60 cents, 0.60. This is 60 cents. Or you can write it like this. You can just say 60 cents. But now we are using the rand, not the cents only. We are now writing it the correct way to be 0.60. That is what? Your profit. Now look at this one. You are given the formula. Now they say calculate the profit. We said the selling price is what? The selling price is 2 rand. 2 rand. What is the cost price of 1 apple? 1 rand 40. And then over what? Over the cost price, which is 1 rand 40. The correct substitution in a formula, boys and girls, multiply by 100. And remember, this percentage is for a symbol that it is at 100%. Now, when you calculate your answer, you do your calculation there, your answer must be in percentage. Now, it will be 0.60 divided by 1 rand 40. Let me just quickly do that. 0.60 divided by 1 rand 40. And then you get your answer to be 0.4285. And then the examiner will tell you round it off to what. So it will be if I round it off to two decimal places, it will be 0, okay, sorry, we multiply the answer by 100, and then that will be what? 42. Remember, it is this one divided by this one, multiply by 100, and then it will be the percentage. This one we multiply it by 100, it will give us the answer as 42.85%. Actually, it is 86% given the digits. So boys and girls, this one is just an example of what? Of our tariff system. These are the tariffs that I was talking about. Look at this one. They say the first 50 is 1,0145. And then these prices, they are telling us what I like about financial finance. They are giving us in full information. They're telling us all these prices, they are in rands, and then they're also VAT inclusive, meaning the 15% is already added. Now, if I want to calculate how many kiloliters here, I can just simply do this and say 150 minus 50. So meaning for me to calculate this one, the kiloliters, I would say 150 minus the 50, it will give me what? 100 kiloliters. And then if I want the amount, I will say this 100 kiloliters, I multiply it by the unit price, and then it will give us now the amount. And then they even told us how many kiloliters exactly. Determine the number of kiloliters that Magdalene has used in December. How are we going to determine the number of kiloliters? The previous reading, it was 0.53657. Then the current reading, which is the present reading, it is 0.53. Then let's quickly check how many kiloliters did she use. It will be 0.53 and 989 minus what? 0.53 657. And then our answer here, it is 332 kiloliters that Magdalene has used. How are we going to share those 332? So meaning the first block here, it is 50 kiloliters, and then the second one we said it is 100. So meaning if I want the amount, it will be 50 multiplied by 1,0145. 50 multiplied by 1,145, and then I get the amount. Use your calculator. I get the amount to be 50 rand 725, and then that is the first block. Then the second block, because it is 100 units, it will be 100 multiplied by 2,1692, and then I get the amount to be 216 rand 92. And these amounts, they're all VAT inclusive. Now for the next one, I would say 300 minus 150. Remember I said the maximum of the second block minus the maximum of the first one. So it will be 300 minus 150. So with the 300 minus 150, it will give me what? 150. Now, before I can even conclude that is 350, they told me that Magdalene used 332. So now I go back to my table and say 332 minus what? I'm just doing these calculations, boys and girls, so that you can see, given the time that I have, I just want us to do this one so that you know how to answer these questions on a sliding scale. So it will be 332 minus 50. 332 minus 50, I am left with what? With 282. Now I go to the next one. 282 minus the 100 on the second block. Minus the 100. 282 minus the 100, I am left with 182. With the 182 that I'm left with now, I am going to the next one. This one, I said it is how many kiloliters? For this block, it's 300 minus 150. It gives me 150. Then I say 182 minus 150. Then I am left with what? With 32. Now, looking at this one, now I'm saying quickly equals to, then I say 150, sorry, multiply by 3,3158. Then I get the amount to be 497,37. Now with the 32, this 32, it means it will come here, strictly here, because I am left with 32 kiloliters. So remember, when I fill the cup will start filling from the bottom going up. So this will be my cup. It will start filling from here. Here it will be my 50 kiloliters, and then here it will be my 100, and then here it will be my 150. For my cup to be full, I am left only with what? With 32. So the 32 will go there, because now the 150 is here. So now it will be 32 multiply, sorry, it will be 32 multiply by 4,5271, and then my answer will be what? 144 rand, 144,8672. If you can check, I did not round off anywhere. I have to round off the answers at the end. Now, how much did Magdalene spend? Then I have to add all this amount. Then that will be the amount that Magdalene have to pay. So, boys and girls, I've already done the tariff systems with you. And then now let's go to this one. I think now we're about to finish. If we can just do this one, because I want you to understand the personal income tax. Remember, you said it's a challenge. And then now here's the tax bracket that I was talking about. 1 to 216 taxable income. As you can see, remember I said to you, you have to have a taxable income in order to be able to come and substitute or work on the tax bracket. And then we are told that Mr. Shishenga, he is 50 years old. Meaning, where does he fall? Under primary rebate, because he is 50 years. So he falls under primary rebate. And then now mathematical literacy at Ekurhuleni North High School earns a monthly taxable. Look at this one. You have to highlight a monthly taxable income, meaning you are not going to subtract any pension, any UIF, any donation. All those have been taken out. Your focus will be only on what? On the 35,357. And they also telling us that it is a monthly income. So for us to be able to work on the tax rate table to calculate the tax, the amount, the taxable amount that he has to pay, not the tax that he has to pay, then we take this one now to convert it to annual salary. Yeah, Mr. Shishenga. Annual salary for Mr. Shishenga, it will be 35,357. Multiply it by 12. So it's 35,357. We multiply it by 12. It will give us an annual salary of 424,284. This is what Mr. Shishenga earns annually. Again, number 2, they're telling us during this time, Mr. Shishenga was a member of a medical aid, and then for himself, meaning it is a main member, and then his wife, first member, and then his 2 children. Each child, it will be 224. So meaning for the tax credit, Mr. Shishenga, for medical tax credit, it will be 332 times 2 plus what? 224 times 2. And then you multiply all this by what? By 12. Multiply by 12. Why am I multiplying it by 12? I am converting it to the annual tax credit. And then remember now this one, the annual salary. This is an annual taxable income. Taxable income, because we are told that this is his monthly taxable income. Then it takes us to which tax bracket? It is 424,000. Now let's go to our table. Looking at our table, 424, it belongs to tax bracket number 3. So if the examiner asks you which tax bracket does Mr. Shishenga falls under, you go here, you say 424,284, it is in this tax bracket number 3. If the examiner says which tax bracket, you say tax bracket number 3. And then now the tax rate table, it means it is this one. As you can see, this one. And now let me go to the next slide so that you can understand. Determine, okay, I've already done this one. We said it is 353 35,357 rand. We multiply it by 12, it gave us 424,284. This is Mr. Shishenga's annual salary. Can you see, boys and girls, it's not difficult to deal with a tax bracket. Now it says show how the calculations that Mr. Shishenga will receive 13,344 for medical tax credit. Now remember, we said, who did he cover? Himself, his wife, and 2 kids. So total medical tax credit, or just abbreviate it, it will be 332 times 2 plus 224 times what? Times 2. All this, because it's an annual, I multiply it by 12. So let me quickly do it. It's 332 multiplied by 2. It will give me 664 plus 224 multiplied by 2. It will be 448 plus 664. The total, it is 1,112. And then I multiply it by 12. Remember, I said everything I have to multiply it by 12. So I am multiplying this by 12 because I'm converting it to annual. Then I got my answer to be 13,344, of which it is what is given. So now if the examiner says shows, you have to do all the calculation. Can you see how simple it is to work with the medical tax credit? Now it says calculate the amount of tax Mr. Shishenga must pay for the year. And then remember, now we said he has an annual tax taxable income of what? I'm doing this last one, boys and girls. Let's see, this one you have already done it, the income and expenses. I'll go back to that one of tax credit because I know that is the question that beats you mostly. This one we have already done it, the income and the expenses I've already explained to you, this one. And then this is the formula for the income. Now if I'm selling one packet for what? I say here number of packets, 5 packets, it gives me what? 80 rand. So if 5 packets it's 80 rand, how much is one packet? And then they've already tell us that Tony is selling each packet for 15 rand. So now if I'm to calculate income, I would say 15 rand multiplied by what? By the number of packets that he sold. If he sells 5 packets, it will be how much? It will be 15 times 5. If he sells 20, it will be 15 times 20. And then the expenses, we have the fixed expenses. There's our fixed expenses where it starts. So this one you have already done it. This one you can also do it. It's so simple because now here they just want you to calculate the profit. You add these ones. Now remember the profit, you said it is income, and then you add the number of items here, which will be 5 plus 10 plus 7 plus 15. That will give you 37. And then now it says use the graph otherwise to determine the profit made in a week, in a given week, if the sales indicated below. Now the examiner wants you to use the graph. Now you check, okay, how many did I spend? How many did I sell for the week? 37. So it is 35, 36, 37. Then I come here. And then what is the amount there? Then I go here. That means that will be, okay, sorry, this one is for the expenses. And then I go up now to what? To the income. And then on the income, I get my income to be what? My income, it is 550 rand. Looking at this one. And then my expenses, how much are my expenses? It's 300, 320, 40, 68. So now you have to be accurate. It will be 380. So for this one, you can say it is 500, 520, 540, 560. So if it is 560, and remember, boys and girls, now this one, it will be my income, and then my expenses. Can you see I'm getting my answers from the graph? Now my expenses, I will get it from here. I said my expenses, it is what? It is 380. Then I'll just say a profit for the week, it will be 560 minus the 308. That will be my profit. Let me quickly rush because I'm no longer having time. This one, the banking, the interest, boys and girls, this one is exactly the same. And remember now with the loans, they are telling you the loan, it is without residual. And then if the loan, it is with residual, they're charging a percentage, 20. And then the balloon term will be the balloon term, which is the extended one, it will be on the 73rd month payment. So now they show us here the option 2, the option 3, and then the option 1. So now they say define the term, the interest charged on the amount there. And then here, boys and girls, it says determine the difference between option 1, between the monthly installment of option 1 and option 2. So here's my option 1, the difference with installment, it will be my option 1, it is 6,115 minus 47, and then the option 2 is 5,498,19. That is how you determine the difference. So boys and girls, these ones, I think you can do it, you know it. And then with the simple and compound interest, remember now the simple interest, I always say simple. If I cut my hair year in, year out, like men, you know, boys at your class, they are forever on bold, they are cutting their hair. So meaning they don't allow their hair to grow. It means their interest is calculated as simple interest because it's a new hair every week. But when it comes to a compound interest, it is us girls, you know, with the dreadlocks. If I'm growing my hair or my natural hair, I don't cut it on a monthly basis or on a yearly basis. I can keep that hair. It keeps on growing on what I had already. So meaning it goes up, and then we say it is a compound interest, meaning it's an interest based on the balance. And then simple interest, it is interest based on what? On the original amount. Compound interest, it is the interest based on the balance that you have at the end of the year, meaning it will be the principal amount plus the interest. You add it together, then when you go to the next year, now you'll be saying now what is the interest, then you'll be saying that. And then boys and girls, the high purchase, because we don't have money, we are using the high purchase, we have to pay the deposit. And with that deposit, you know that this one I can't afford it, I have to pay deposit and then pay the balance on an equal installment on a monthly basis. The exchange rate, remember I've already explained the currencies there, boys and girls, with the exchange rate. And then developing a data handling process, we have done this one. And remember, boys and girls, this is the one that I also wanted to share with you, because I know the data can be a discrete data, meaning it talks to the numbers, and then continuous data, it is the one that we are counting. So now the other one is numerical, and then the other one is measuring. So with a continuous one, it's a measuring, and then with a discrete, it's counting. And then this is the formula for the sum, the mean. The mean, we have to add all the values of the data set. If there are 5, they take, remember in grade 12, we'll be using multiple data set. So you need to be specific. If the examiner says, look into this one, then they will indicate which one you have to look under, and then you'll add. Remember, when we do this, the most with the mode elsewhere, For the mean, you don't need to arrange your data set in an ascending or descending order. But with the mode, you have to arrange your data set. Firstly, with the ascending or descending, and then you check which number appears most. That is your mode. If there are two numbers appearing equally, then you mention those. But if there are three, there is no mode or modal. And then the median, it is the middle number. If your data set, it is equal, you have 5 on the left, 5 on the right, therefore you'll have to add the 2. It will give you 10. It will be 5 on the left if there are 10 data in a items in a data set, 10 values in a data set. Then you arrange them in an ascending order, and then you say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then this 2, it will be your middle. You divide it by 2, and then you get your middle value. So that is if the data is even. If the data is what now? Is odd, then you'll have 2 this side, 2 this side. This middle finger will be your median. I hope that one you did not forget. The quartiles, they are so easy. With the quartiles, they divide, it's a quartile, they divide the data set into 4 equal quarters, and then we have quarter 1 up to quarter 3. So now let's quickly do this one. The box and whisker, the quartiles. We say this one is a 5-point summary. Now with the 5-point summary, we have our minimum, our quartile 1, our median. Median, it is the middle one, and then we have quartile 3, and then the maximum. If they say answer based on the 5-point summary, so that means this will be your point number 1, point number 2, point number 3, point number 4, and then point number 5. And then the interquartile, the range. If we are to calculate the range from this one, range will be max. Range will be max minus the minimum. And then with the interquartile range, it will be IQR. Interquartile range is IQR. Then it will be Q3, this one, which is a maximum. It will be Q3 minus the Q1, this one, if we are to calculate the interquartile range. So this is just an example how it appears on the exam when we are to do the box and whiskers. So boys and girls, I had prepared a lot for you. Even if you can check it, it says state the median for store A. Now here's our store A, and then here's our median. Remember, we said median is the middle number based on this one. And then it will be what? 270. Can you see? I have already identified the median of what? Of store A, which is 270 based on the box and whisker. So when you look there, then these numbers are what are arranged in a data set. They are not arranged. So meaning for me to get the median, I have to arrange this data set in an ascending order. Then I will get the median. But looking at the box and whisker, I can simply identify my median. So looking at this one quickly, let's do the 5-point summary with store B. Store B, my minimum is 140. This will be my minimum. And then my Q1 for store B, it's 108, as you can see. And then my median, it is what? It is 240, which is my Q1. This is my median. And then this will be my Q3, which is what? 390. And then my maximum, my max, it will be what? It will be, my maximum will be 440. Can you see, boys and girls, with the box and whisker, the answers are there. You don't need to struggle. And then the growth chart as well. The answers are also there. Looking at this one, they're giving you the percentiles, and then the age in weeks, and then they're giving you the BMI, the body weight. Sorry, they've given you the body weight. Now, when you look, it says determine the weight of a 30-week fowl in 25th percentile. Now, a 30-week, you go to 30 weeks, it's 25/30, and then at what? At 25th percentile, and then you just go up there, because they said at 25th percentile. Here is the point. There's my point. And then they say determine the weight. The weight in what? In grams. So meaning the weight in grams will be what? 2,500 grams. And then if I am to convert it to kilograms, I know that when I convert from kilograms to grams, what do? I multiply by 1,000, but from grams to kilograms, I divide by 1,000. So if I want to convert it to this one, it will be what? It will be 2,500 divided by 1,000. It will give us 2,5 kilograms. That is the weight. Based on this, you just check this. Here's the answer. That's how easy it is, boys and girls. Now, looking at this percentile, here is just a representation of the graph, analyzing the graph using data handling. They ask you, determine the province which the median percentage of vehicle registration in 20 December. Now, you have to arrange the data set because what they want the median. And looking at this one, it's not arranged because as you can see, there's 2,25, 95,5. You have to arrange your data set in an ascending order, then you get your median. So boys and girls, basically what I have done, I've tried to cover almost all the questions. And remember now, your data set, your representation in data handling, the graphs, it can be a bar graph, a stackable graph, a horizontal or a vertical one. We can be given a histogram, or we can be given a pie chart, or we can be given scatter plots. But the interpretation is the same. The last one, it will be probability, and then we said probability can be represented, when you answer probability, as a fraction. It can also be represented as a decimal fraction, or it can be represented as a percentage. And then when you are to write the answers for this one, here they've given you the guide. They're telling you for this one, it is white bread. What are they having? It is white bread for W, brown bread for B, and then R for roll, meaning here it will be R. It is a roll, because it tells us that R is for roll, and that is the one that is missing. And then now they're telling us it will be toasted or not toasted. So it is white bread toasted. Here it is white bread toasted. There's the outcome. Brown bread not toasted. It's white, sorry, it is white not toasted. There's the outcome. Brown roll toasted. Here it will be what? It will be BT. And then bread roll not toasted, RN, not toasted. So now this one, it's so simple. Boys and girls, I have tried to cover everything. I hope you'll be ready. Remember what I said to you. Tomorrow when you come to the exam room, what you need to do, be calm, arrive early, be calm. We have done all the finance part. We have done the calculations on the finance part. I've given you a glimpse of how do the examiner ask questions, and I've explained to you each and every single concept in finance. And then even with data handling, I have done the same. So boys and girls, I'm wishing you all the best for paper 1 tomorrow, and make sure that you tune in after writing tomorrow, as we'll be doing a revision for paper 2. And don't forget, paper 1 finance, it's 60 marks, which will be question 2 to question 4 or 5. And then, so question 2 and another question can be on question 4 or 5. And then data handling, it will be question 3, and then the other one can be in question 4 or 5. Remember, question 4 and 5, it is an integration. So we don't know how long is the paper. Remember, I said to you, I have no idea how the paper looks like, but what I have an idea is how the topics are aligned in terms of finance for paper 1 and data handling for paper 1 with the 5% of probability. I'm wishing you all the best. Go and nail it. Question 1, it's knowledge. Go and nail it. Question 2, read the information given, analyze, answer based on the given context. Same applies with data handling. Answer based on the given context. And do me one favor, don't mix the concept. When coming to the mean, we say it is the total sum of all the data values in a data set divided by the number of those values. How many are there? If the sum is 1,000, 1000, and then how many are they in a data set? There are 10 values, so meaning the mean, it would be 1000 divided by 10. And then when we are to calculate the range we have to arrange our data set in an ascending order or descending order. And remember, boys and girls, the negative numbers, they are less than the positive numbers on a number line. If on the left hand side it is negative numbers, they will start with -1, -2, -3, meaning -20 or -4 or -5. It is less than -1, and then 1 is bigger than the 20, and 0, it is in the middle. So meaning from 0 going to the right, it is high numbers, and then 0 going to the left, it is low numbers. Don't forget that, and don't mix the concept of the mean, the median, and the mode. The mode is the number that appears mostly. That is the modal, and then the median, it is the middle value. So if the data set, and we have already done the 5-point summary on a box and whisker, it's so easy. Box and whisker, you don't have to draw it, you have to interpret it. I'm wishing you all the best. See you tomorrow. Bye bye.